Do you ever feel like you're not good enough? Do you ever think you do not deserve things you accomplished? You're not alone. You're probably experiencing imposter syndrome, very common in life and business. First, let's define what the imposter syndrome is. Imposter syndrome is the persistent feeling of self-doubt. It's like feeling you fooled everyone into thinking you're capable when you secretly fear you're not. Friedrich Nietzsche said, all great men are play actors of their own ideal. You start something from scratch and you build your way up, and all of a sudden you are there, in a place where you could never imagine yourself. Surrounded by great people and amazing opportunities, everything feels like a dream and you're just waiting to wake up. These opportunities feel like obstacles. Who am I to play big? Often imposter syndrome manifests as a voice in your head, constantly feeding you doubts and negative thoughts. It may say things like, I'm not good enough, I do not deserve these accomplishments. Or sooner or later, everyone will realize I'm a fraud. But did you know imposter syndrome can push us to work harder and achieve more? This is how I was able to overcome imposter syndrome and to use this as my advantage. First thing to do is to recognize and acknowledge. Talking to people in business, I realized that this is more common than we think it is. You may notice if you ask someone who is a high achiever how they did it, or you congratulate them and they're like, come on, it's nothing special. And you're like, how is this person so humble? You have to understand, it will always seem like somebody else is doing better than you. It will always look like other people have their shit together. Looking confident is a habit and a skill, and you never know how someone is really feeling. First time I noticed imposter syndrome was when I got my real estate license and when the business started taking off for me. I moved from a different country to the US. I had to learn better English, learn how things work here, build a whole business from the scratch. And that constant feeling that I just dropped from a different planet and achieved all of this in a short period of time made me think this is just luck. Until I understood that it doesn't matter how I feel, it matters how people think I feel. Credibility is a perception, and all of a sudden my immigration to the US and a new beginning became my biggest strength when talking to people. As a real estate agent, I went on many appointments and no one ever asked me how many homes I've sold. Once you appear confident, nobody will question your credibility. You may recognize and acknowledge imposter syndrome when it shows up, but remember, as a business person and entrepreneur, you are a leader. Do not let others feel your self-doubt. This can be seen as weakness. Take a moment to really pay attention to your inner dialogue. Listen to the thoughts that pop up when you're faced with a new challenge or when you're about to take credit for your hard work. Write these thoughts down if it helps. The key here is to observe them without judgment. Remember, these are just thoughts, not facts. Often we discount our successes, attributing them to external factors and luck rather than our hard work and talent. Imposter syndrome can either make or break your goals, and you have to be able to see when it shows up. Which brings us to the next one: adapt and embrace. Humans are creatures of habits and routines. Everything we do is a habit in some way. Some people are used to being surrounded by wealth and success, some aren't. Imposter syndrome can be very common if you haven't grew up in success and abundance. Sometimes people that grew up in poverty have a hard time accepting their new lifestyle, and some people never adapt. When you come from a background of financial struggle, you may carry with you a deep-seated feeling of insecurity and unworthiness. You have to adapt, because if you don't, this may sabotage your future successes. But hey, good job, you're so successful that you keep surprising yourself with new accomplishments, and that's why it's so hard to adapt. But you deserve all of this. Nothing in life comes easy, everything is somewhat hard. Sometimes you make the right move that takes you a lot faster to where you wanna be. In my job, I saw people working 60+ hours a week to sell the same amount of homes as me. I thought I'm not doing something right because I'm not putting that much effort, but the truth was, and still is, I'm just spending my time on more productive tasks. Embrace that you're not an imposter, you're just amazing, you have something others don't. You made it and you will most likely continue your success. Earlier you embrace this, it will be more easier for you to reach new levels in life. Next thing is, and this may sound cliche, stop comparing yourself to others. Again, it will always feel like other people have their things in order. Because you're not comparing yourself to others, you're comparing yourself to your perception of others. This is very common in successful families where kids from a young age see their family as very successful and they have a feeling they need to accomplish and maintain same success. In immigrants' family especially, no matter how hard they work, they can never be the same as grandpa who came in a boat without word of English and made a generational wealth. Little did they know that grandpa probably experienced imposter syndrome in his own way. But nonetheless, comparison is a thief of joy, as they would say. I remember my first year in real estate, my goal was to sell 5 homes, and I sold 10, then I sold 15, and I saw some agents selling 40, 50 homes, and now I want to sell 40, 50 homes, and this year I'll probably end my year with 40 transactions easily. Same thing with YouTube. Once I reach 100,000 subscribers, I'm gonna be like, what's next? And I saw videos where YouTubers are unpacking that silver play button and they're like, doesn't feel like anything special. Keep in mind that there are people out there who wish they are in your spot. Imposter syndrome can either make or break your goals. You have to be able to understand when it shows up. Be aware, if you don't take a moment to reflect on what you've achieved, then you'll never be really happy, always chasing that next thing. And the truth is, success doesn't always boost self-esteem. It just doesn't. Success is a product of actions and habits. It's normal to feel like an imposter every time you come to a new environment. But don't let this stop you from achieving your goals. Again, what Nietzsche said, all great men are play actors of their own ideal. We are all imposters in some way in life. You will always be imposter for a certain time until you're not. Understanding this for me helped me achieve more than I could ever imagine. Some people never reach their full potential because they don't feel like they deserve it. Imposter syndrome will always be there in some way. You better become friends with it immediately. You just have to believe in yourself more. A lot of things that we dream about are more achievable than we think. But who am I to speak? I probably shouldn't be here anyways.